Okay, now let's talk about adding lists. In HTML, we have three types of list elements. The type that we use most of the time is UL, which is short for unordered list. We use this element whenever we want to show a list of items where the order doesn't matter. A common application of this element is in implementing navigation menus. Quite often, these navigation menus are represented using unordered lists. But we can use unordered lists for listing any type of objects where the order doesn't matter. We can list images, products in a shopping cart, and so on. So for this demo, let's say we want to create a navigation menu with 4 links. Inside this UL element, we add 4 LI elements. LI is short for list item. So the first item is going to be about me. Now here I'm using plain text, but we can add a hyperlink using the anchor element. Let's not worry about that and just focus on this structure. So let's add another list item, say courses, subscribe, and contact me. Let's see what we get. So by default, list items are displayed using bullet points. But these bullet points are a matter of styling. We can change their shape, we can change circles to squares, or we can remove them. That's something we do in CSS. Let me show you. So here in the style element, let's define a rule for our unordered list. Here we set list style type to a square. And with this, the shape of our bullet points changed to a square. Now, if you want to remove these, we set this property to none. The bullet points are gone. We can also use CSS to lay these out horizontally, just like this navigation menu over here. But that's a matter of styling. We'll talk about that later in the course. In this section, our focus is mainly on HTML for structuring our web pages. So this is how we can create an unordered list. Now we can also nest lists to create a hierarchy. For example, let's say here I want to display 3 of my courses in another unordered list. So after courses, we add another unordered list, and inside this list, we're going to have 3 list items. Now let me show you a cool technique for quickly generating markup. We want to create 3 list items, right? So we type li times 3 and then press tab. This is called Zen coding. So let's list a few of my courses here: HTML, JavaScript, and Git. Now, here's what we get. We have a hierarchy of items. So this is all about unordered lists. Now, in contrast, we have ordered lists where the order of items matter. So if you change the order, the meaning can change. Let me show you an example. So I'm going to delete this unordered list and create an ordered list using the OL element. Now inside this list, we're going to have 3 list items. So once again, we type li times 3, but there's a shortcut to create all of this markup in one go. So I'm going to delete all of this. So we start with an OL. Inside this OL, we're going to have 3 list items. So li times 3. Isn't that awesome? So what is a real example? Let's say we have a website for recipes. So our first item can be preheat the oven. Then we can say place the ingredients on the crust. Let's say this is a recipe for making pizzas. The third step can be put the pizza in the oven for 20 minutes and so on. With this markup, we get this output. So instead of bullet points, we have 1, 2, 3. So this is all about ordered lists. Now we have a third type of lists called description lists. So I'm going to delete all this markup. We use description lists for implementing glossaries or display metadata. So we can have a term and some details about that term. Let me show you how this works. So we start with a DL element, which is short for description list. Now inside this list, we can have a description term, let's say HTML. And after this, we can add a description details element to describe this term. So here we can say hypertext markup language. Now after that, we can add another term, let's say CSS, followed by some details. We can say this is short for cascading style sheets. So here's the default representation of a description list. But once again, we can use CSS to lay this out in a different way. For example, we can make the term bold and bigger. We can add some padding and so on. Now you might say, But Mosh, how often do we implement glossaries? Well, let me show you another real-world application of description lists. Let's say we want to display metadata about my course. So I'm going to change HTML to course or title. And then here, I add the title of this course. What is the title of this course? The Ultimate HTML and CSS course. The next term is author. And here we can provide details about the author, Mosh Hamedani. Then we can add another term called skills. These are the skills you're going to learn in this course. Then here we can list multiple details. So I'm going to type DD times 3. In this course, you're going to learn HTML, CSS, responsive design. Let's add another details item, search engine optimization. Now take a look. This is a real example of displaying metadata about something. So that's all about lists. Next, we're going to talk about tables.